like I said, I want to talk to you a little bit about punching out a logo. This is more advanced. I don't really necessarily expect this. Depends on really the complexity of the logo. So I wanted to show you two different variants of things that I had done for clients. This one on the left, really the type is the logo, but the image, the subheading was for this specific event. So the LAGC celebrates is a event that where they celebrate people's positive impact in the community through the Legal Aid Just Society, and in this case, they've been working with this individual that has been working for 30 years on pro bono housing justice, and they wanted to celebrate them. So they asked me to do like a Hitchcock-esque portrait of the individual, and a and then some sort of logo for this new thing that they're doing. So this is two color. This one's going to be relatively easier to execute. And what punching out a logo means, it means that there is no white. Thankfully, with this one, I don't have any white, as you can see now that it's on the gray. But if you had, like, say, a white box that you were using to, like, potentially hide some. Actually, it does have white on the A. Let me, I'll fix that later. But if you were having something like that to hide it, which I do actually with the A, I need to resolve that first, and then make sure that this, like if I was going to put this on a poster for utilizing the logo, that white on the A is going to show up on the poster and look kind of weird. So that's why you want none of that, and you also want all your shapes to be combined with one another. And this is to ensure that it is that your client is less likely to break your logo. Style guides also help with that, but this is yet another step for ensuring that. So first I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to make sure all my type is outlined by going create outlines for the type. And also, if you notice, these are all vector strokes that I use the width tool on. So I'm going to go to object path and outline all those, because all the strokes also need to be paths. And the reason for that is that when you have a stroke line with a certain amount of thickness and your client decides to change the size, the stroke is white so you can't see it, when they change the size of this, and if you don't have convert scale stroke and stroke thickness, it will remain the same thickness throughout the whole process and potentially break your logo if they have that setting. So you want to just make sure that you're sensitive to those kind of things. Now what I'm going to do is I need to merge all the blue content together and all the gray content together. But before I do that, I saw that A and this white triangle, so I'm going to hit Command X to cut the white triangle out, and I'm going to double click on the A group. So you see the cookie crumbs. I double clicked on it to get into the A group. I know that I'm only manipulating the A now because all the other stuff is grayed out, and I'm going to paste that white back and use minus front to punch out the white triangle from the A. So now that part at least is resolved, and the next step I'm going to do is now try to merge all this together. And it might not work. That's part of this process. I haven't done this for this particular logo in a while. So all this stuff is grouped right now. So I need to ungroup the LAJC celebrates. So I'm going to go Object Ungroup. And I'm going to try to select all this stuff again. First selecting all the blue on the head, making sure I don't miss the triangle. Make sure I don't miss anything. And then I'm going to hold the Shift key down and select all the blue down here. And then when I hit merge, let's see what happens. Okay, perfect. So all this, as you can see, is now one shape. That was relatively easy. Now do the same thing for the gray. Merge. We're using the Pathfinder tool. And all my type kind of disappeared in a kind of weird way. So I'm going to try this again, except what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all this type. It seems like all this type is being treated individually. What if I merge all the type together? Okay, still have that issue. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to select everything, but I'm going to use my group selection tool to isolate the counterforms and deselect them. So what you're going to see is right now there's a blue line indicating they're selected, and I'm going to hold Shift and click on that interior. You see how that line disappeared? But you have to click on the edge. It's kind of hard to aim it sometimes. So sometimes, like me, it's taken me 2 tries on almost every single one of these characters. But I gotta hold shift to deselect, so I don't deselect everything, but I at least deselect the counterforms. Alright, so all those are deselected, and then I'm gonna hit merge, and that resolved the issue. A lot of things like that happen. Sometimes it's pretty complicated and you have to do a couple of tries. But now all the gray is one shape, all of the blue is one shape. And to further prevent breaking, I'm going to hit Command G so that everything is grouped. And grouping is different than being actually part of the same shape, so you need to make sure that that distinction exists. Now this one, way more complicated and kind of a real big, I remember this being a big pain in the butt to try to do. So to show you how difficult it can be, and one of the reasons why I'm not really requiring it. So I'm going to go to Type, Create Outlines, and then I'm going to go Object Path Outline Stroke. Now, what I have to do is I have this really complicated illustration that all these parts need to be cut out of things. So I'm going to create a copy of this shape. I hit Command C, and I'm going to first cut it out of the beak. So now the beak, and then I'm going to hit Shift Command V to paste it in place so that I have that shape again, because I'm going to need it. I also need to cut the beak out of the black, but I'm going to first just kind of get some of these other shapes together as well. So combining all these things, okay, so those are all the same. I'm going to hit Command left bracket to send them backwards again. I'm going to create a copy of this. Just hit Command C, and I'm going to cut it out of the red shape, out of the shape of the red. So now the red is the full shape I want it, except I have this little thing. I can just go ahead and delete that. I don't need that. Oops. I might just double click so I can isolate the shape again and do that. And then I'm going to go use my cookie crumbs to go back. Okay, so now that's pretty solid. I have to punch this eye out of both the red and the black. So the black right now is looking like this. Oops. So I'm going to punch out first, because this shape is simple right now. I might punch out the red from the black first. So I need to make a copy of the red, minus front. I'm going to shift all this stuff to the back again, and then hit Command Shift V to paste the red back. Hit Command left bracket to get it behind that eyeball. So this shape is both a black and yellow. That's going to complicate things, so I'm going to use my white arrow to select just the black one, hit Command X to cut it out, and I'm going to actually combine that to my black, but I first got to create a copy too, because I have to, and I'm going to send my black to the back again, because I have to, as you can see, I have to create a copy of this black, because that also needs to get punched out of the bird. So I'm going to minus front, so that's punched out of the bird. And then I'm going to need another instance, potentially, to add to the black. Okay, and then I'm going to need this yellow now, is going to need to be cut out of both the black and the red. So I'm going to create a copy of it, and I'm going to first try to punch it out of the black. Okay, so you see that worked. I'm going to again hold Shift Command left bracket to send the black back, because every time you cut something out, it'll bring it all the way to the front of all your shapes. And to prevent that from happening, you gotta, well, you can't prevent it from happening. You just have to keep sending it behind what it needs to be behind. So I'm going to hold Shift Command V, and now I need to, as you can see, I need to cut that yellow. I'm going to create a copy of it. I need to cut that yellow out of the red. And then I'm going to hit Shift Command V to paste it back. So now let's see where we're at. So I have my red cut out, and if I zoom in, I have these extra doodles on there. I need to get rid of those. I have my yellows completely not quite punched out, so I still need to punch out my beak from the black, and I still need to punch out my word bubble from the black. Okay. So I'm going to create a copy of my beak, punch it out from the black, and then send it all the way to the back. I lost my black circle, so I'm going to need to add that in later. In the meantime, I'm actually going to punch the word bubble out as well. And I'm going to wait to combine the music note. So to get that black back, I'm actually going to use my group selection tool to select the interior circle, hit Command C, and then Shift Command V, and I'm going to combine that shape to the black. Oops. I need to cut it out too, I guess. Maybe make it black too. Okay, so that's back. And then I'm going to select all this to collect the music note. So now the music note, and that's all together. In the process, I lost my beak because I forgot to paste it. So I'm going to use my group selection tool again to select the beak shape and hit Command C, and then Shift Command V, and make it yellow again. And then I need to combine the black to the type as well. So now the type and that are together. I need to combine the orange of the beak and the eye together. I think I selected the... I'm not selecting the eye. It's orange, actually. All right, there we go. I was selecting the black area. So now black is one shape, yellow is one shape, red is one shape. And that's really how you want to build these logos. That's the best way to resolve it. And it is a little bit more complicated. So again, I'm not really expecting it, but that's what you need to do to ensure that, again, the client doesn't break things as easy, that you don't have a white background. For the word bubble, I actually decided with this logo that I wanted it to have a white background in certain situations. So I have two variants that I gave the client. Files where it's punched out, where it's transparent in the background, you know, like there's no white, and then versions where there is white, so that if they put it on a logo, they don't want the word bubble to disappear, or they want it to look more like a word bubble, that works best for them. When you export all your files, you're going to be sending the client multiple file formats. So this is actually the folder I gave the client. I have both a horizontal and a vertical variant of this mark for them. So as you can see, black and white JPEG, black and white transparent background PNG, black and white AI, black and white EPS, PDF, and then I got RGB version, CMYK version, RGB PNG with transparent background, AI, EPS, PDF. And then the horizontal variants, same situation. Sometimes branding agencies will also have a PMS or colors as well, or Pantone colors. So this to be more specific, and they'll actually have the percentage makeup of the red, the percentage makeup of the yellow, to be even more specific, and have a style guide to say what the client can do. Sometimes that might be things like you can't have anything as close to the logo as the size of the S, and they'll have like the S will be in a different color, and it'll say like nothing. That didn't work. Nothing can be like within an S distance from the logo. So like you can't cram this thing right next to another logo. If there's a bunch of logos on a poster, everything has to be at least like an S's distance. Not all companies specify this. UPS definitely does, because they had very specific ways I could use their logo when I've used them on client marketing materials, and it was kind of a pain in the butt, but it's because they want to secure the value of their brand and to make sure that it's presented well and that it's presented accurately. That's why. But again, that's also something we're not going to go into in this class. It's really just a crash course in graphic design. We're not getting into like really in hardcore in depth into what you would actually do if this was a full-on graphic design course. So hopefully that helps you at least understand one aspect of the design world a little bit better, and I'll make sure to shoot you all some um, style guide samples so that you can get an idea of what those look like. All right, good luck and take care.